Okay. Good evening. Welcome to the Monday, April 28th of 2025 public meeting of the Kingston City Land Bank Board. Geez, let me start over again. I don't know what's happening. My name is Mike. I serve as the meeting's moderator. We do ask that members of the public limit their comments no more than 2 minutes per speaker. And with that, I turn it over to the board chair, Mr. Nate Hennigan.
Hi, everyone. We'll start with the roll call. Start to my right tonight.
Sure. Barbara Unides, board member.
Rebecca Maslin.
Rebecca Holderness, board member.
Sarah Delorto, board member.
Joanna Dorman, board member.
Nate Hannigan, board member. And to Zoom.
Paul Heinz, board member.
Excellent. Then with that, I will entertain a motion to vote to accept the prior meeting minutes as uploaded to YouTube and approve the current meeting agenda.
Motion to approve the prior meeting minutes as uploaded to YouTube and approve the agenda. Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Great, motion passes. Then we will start with the board chair announcements. I'll keep it brief tonight. Just everything's trucking along. We got construction moving along at Grand and Hasbrook. We're working on the closings for the first 4 Keystone properties, so TBD on ribbon cutting date, which we'll hopefully be announcing soon. Yeah, everything's just kind of cruising along. I'll leave it at that. We have no members of the public here right now, so we'll skip ahead to the executive director's report.
Great, thank you, Board Chair Hennigan. I will also try to be similarly brief. Good evening, everyone. I organized this presentation into the same categories of pipeline, pre-development, potential funding opportunities, and others. So I will begin with the initial category. No change from last month. The number of properties potentially available to us in the pipeline. However, there has been some movement, so I'll jump down to that. Thankfully, the Finance Committee of the City of Kingston Common Council passed our disposition policy, which is included in your board package. The revisions include updating it to the state law that was passed in the budget, which itself provided procedures to update based on the Supreme Court ruling quite some time ago. So that is great. It will go to the full council for a vote in May. When that passes, we will probably have additional updates around what properties might be available. So movement, but no change for now. No change in any of the other categories I've spoken about in the past, including 24 Belmont, which is a vacant lot that we could acquire, and the National Community Stabilization Trust, for which we received no properties this month. We're hopeful next month. Not really, but who knows? Pre-development, also no change from last month. There have been some changes within the projects themselves. There's some updates. 46 grand on the 21st of April. We did receive approval in this very room from the planning board to revise the lot lines. This allows us to move forward with finishing at 52 grand and 48 Hasbrook and then selling at 52 48 Hasbrook. Owen also has some updates at ADC that I won't step on the construction side on that site. And I will be working with Kyle as soon as the site is cleaned up for a great architecture/engineering request for proposals for that site. So more to come in the future on that. 3rd Avenue, no updates. Our new home program updates will be provided at ADC. I feel like it's at that time where I'm backing away from these being my updates, and Kyle, Stacy, and Owen are taking them into active projects. So it's moving out of pipeline in a sense. Potential new funding opportunities. Kyle and I applied yet again for the fiscal year 2025 congressionally directed funding spending opportunities. That's basically unlimited funding. We applied to Senator Schumer and Gillibrand, as we have in the past, for $1.5 billion each. We hope to hear back. We will provide updates as we do, and we're hopeful, as we have been in years past. The Ulster County has opened the opportunity for Housing Action Fund Round 2. You may recall last year we were awarded $400,000 through their initial opportunity. This year we could apply, because they've changed some of the parameters of the program, we could apply for up to $700,000. So we will do so by the 16th of May for 46 grand. So Kyle and I are working on that. Application looks great. Thank you, Kyle. I know I need to get some support letters. I will do so. And then we will have that package in before our meeting next month. Similarly, unless anyone knows something that I don't that happened today, New York State has still not passed its budget. So $50 million that's allocated for land banks and community land trusts apparently to use in some fashion, probably going into the LBI program and some to be created program for CLTs is not at risk, but it is still unapproved by the legislature. In the other category, the only thing I wanted to mention was that we may try to advance the new home program, architecture and engineering RFP process via email through ADC and through the board. This is helpful to save time, and I think Kyle can jump into the acronym soup or what an FUL is at ADC later and can sort of articulate why that's important from a timing standpoint. Those are my updates. Thank you very much.
Great, thanks, Mike. We'll jump right into the committee reports with ABC. And we'll start with the Keystone. And I'll pass it over to Owen for construction update.
Great. Hi, everybody. So I feel like the update sounds a little bit like last month's update, but we've got these 4 Keystone houses complete, and we've been still doing little tweaks in the houses. Both contractors have come back to deal with some things or do some extra things that we asked for in this past month, and just keeping the places maintained now and in good shape. Grand and Hasbrook are really coming along now. I think I told the ADC committee that they've were able to get the drywall up in those houses, and that's been a real turning point where the houses suddenly feel like you're not just looking at like a framed shell, but it really feels like a house now in there, and flooring is starting to get done, and both the exteriors look like they're almost done as well. So they're both houses are looking good. Both houses have been adjusting to updated plans for their borders with 46 Grand Street as we attempt to give 46 Grand Street more of a lot, whatever lot we can give it, basically. So both of those properties have updated site plans now to make that adjustment. But the plan as it stands now is that both of those houses are going to be on budget and on schedule, and the GC is rolling with some of the punches we've thrown them around that evolving border situation. I'll share this tracker, and then I just want to give you a couple updates about other projects too. Share. Okay, you can see this now, right? So overall themes hold, which is 4 houses closed out. Grand and Hasbrook, particularly Grand, having worked through a lot of their contingency, but also having solved a lot of the issues that have come up with those houses. And still we're only 0.25% the contingency expended, so we're in good shape budget wise, and schedule wise we're all good at or ahead of schedule right now. So and people are working on those sites every day, so those are expected to keep trucking along. Questions on this before I take this down? As a reminder, we're head for a end of July substantial completion date for these 2 houses.
Great. Thanks, Owen.
Yeah, can I tell you a little bit about 46 Grand Street and the new home project before, or you want to come back to this? Yeah.
Actually, yeah, let's wait till we get to the first. Let's finish up the Keystone discussion. Okay. Kyle?
Hey, everyone. Here's the financing summary for Keystone. This represents the upcoming requisition that we plan to do in the coming week. Not a ton to report here. We are nearly entirely drawn down on the ARPA funds. We'll be drawing down on LBI funds going forward more as we continue to wrap up the construction there. But yeah, not a ton to report here. Just kind of echoing Owen's sentiments. We've finished up on 4 of the homes, and 2 more have, you know, substantial more work to do, showing around halfway drawn on the funds for each of these. But yeah, that's the latest on the financing for Keystone. Happy to answer any questions if people have them.
Great. Any questions?
Move on to disposition updates on Keystone. We have 2 homes in contract, 1 more than we last reported, and 1 that looks like it's approaching contract very shortly. 4th home, Stefan, we are engaging. We're more at the early stages of the contract there, so hoping to accelerate that and get that signed as soon as possible. But making good progress, moving forward to a ribbon cutting soon.
Any questions?
I get the transcripts of the voicemails.
We do?
And yeah,
You still do, right? I can't
I
tell.
do. I wanted to ask, but maybe it's better to discuss in the executive session, but the 20 Stefan.
Yeah, maybe we could talk about that during.
Yeah, I just wanted to know where that ended up.
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
Cool. Any other questions? Okay, thanks, Kyle.
Thanks.
Then with that, we'll jump to the 46 grand discussion. So back to you, Owen.
Okay. I forget what landed in which month, but I believe since we last talked to the full board, the 2 kind of things that got flagged on the phase 1 report got dealt with at that site, which is underground storage tank and a tote with mystery grease. Those have been taken care of on the site. We I don't know if the full board is aware that we intended to take the building down with assumed asbestos in place, but we had to pivot to breaking up the work into 2 different chunks of abating the asbestos, testing and abating the asbestos first, and then demolishing the building. So we did a survey, got pricing for that, and are now in the final stages of the getting the contract signed for demolition and abatement. Still 1 contract, still getting the same scope done, just in different order, basically, or in more pieces. We do have a permit submitted for the demolition of 46 Grand Street. It's still waiting for me to submit 1 final document, but it's probably got 9 documents there, so it's almost there. And we have a temporary construction fence around the property so that it's a little more closed off to the outside world. That's my 46 Grand Street update.
Thanks, Owen. Now, actually, Owen, it's you again, back to the home program session.
Yeah, so we had a open RFP for engineering services. That's closed now. We are interviewing shortlisted respondents this week. I hope to make some recommendations to the ADC following those interviews. As Mike said, we do hope to move those votes along by email if possible. In this past month, we also had good meetings with the ADC committees, 2 meetings with the ADC committee, and 1 meeting with the design committee about this project, clarifying objectives and getting some things kicked off for preparing for those projects. So that was helpful in setting direction for us, and now we're moving forward with those decisions. That's my new home report.
Great. That includes the RFP discussion, right? Yeah, you said you're meeting with them on Thursday. Okay, then any questions for Ellen? All right. Kyle.
Thanks. Yeah, FUL and NEPA, that's just the environmental clearance work that we need to do on the home program. We've been in touch with,
What do those acronyms stand for?
full FUL is follow-up letter. It's just a follow-up letter that was given us. It's essentially a checklist of requirements. NEPA is the National Environmental Protection Act, I think. Yeah, but it's just the federal environmental requirements that we need to do because these funds come from the federal level. So it's similar to environmental checklist work we've done in the past for state programs, except it's more intensive. There's a lot of opportunity for things here that, could launch more intensive investigations, some things that might take more longer depending on certain triggers, the type of work we do on the site, the impact to the habitat and the surrounding area. So it's, something that we've done similar work in the past, but this is a little bit more involved. So yeah, it's something we've been working on with a representative from the state who's kind of, we're working with her to work through this checklist. Yeah, she's kind of holding our hand through this process. But yeah, it is a little more complicated than what we've done in the past. But we're making good progress on it. Right now, we're kind of in the stage where we're reaching out to as many people as possible to get reports and to get information we need together in order to address the items identified in the follow-up letter. And we're making good progress on that. Yeah, so just moving forward with that and hoping to, yeah, knock that out as quickly as possible.
Great. Any questions? No? Excellent. Thanks, Kyle. With that concludes the ABC report. So we'll move on to finance and audit, the treasurer's report.
Hello, how is everybody? So as always, the detailed financials are attached to the board package. This is just a review. We reviewed them as we do every month, found them all in order. Here are some details. There were 3 substantive requisitions. LBI operating costs for Q1 was $50,000. LBI construction costs were $105,406.93. And ARPA construction costs were $266.73, $738.35. So those are requisitions. In the way of the world, the contractor then submitted pay applications for $488 Hasbrook and $52,000. And we purchased $46,000 for $1, plus closing costs of $3,000 and change. Stacy reported, thankfully, that property costs were low, as March does typically not incur either plowing or mowing. So that helped us keep that cost down. I do want to compliment everyone in the whole organization, in particular Stacy for the audit, which is complete. Early passed with flying colors, which allowed us, as I understand, to submit our taxes and to prepare reporting for the state of New York as mandated well ahead of the curve. So I think that is an extraordinary achievement of articulation management and fortitude, fiscal fortitude. Also, one of the things that came up in the meeting today, which I didn't know, is the degree of growth that the organization has gone through in terms of its net worth, if you will, or the size and scope of its projects. And so I think that, that it would be worth remarking and complimenting the ability to go from an organization that didn't have to submit a tax return to an organization that needs to be prepared to be audited. So that's a huge shift in terms of our fiscal responsibilities, transparency, and certainly I've been at a couple of meetings in this room or something like it, and it's clear that the city trusts us to be responsible with their funds and to do what we say we're going to do. And in this world, I think that's groovy. So well done. I think that's exciting. We did discuss today and approve, I guess, in the Finance Committee, a proposal to the committee for a purchase of a C-month CD in the amount of $200,000. So we do try to keep interest up so we can, grow our money as we hold on to it before we can make it into housing. And starting a relationship with the Ulster Savings Bank will allow us to anticipate and develop a relationship for future, project loan opportunities. The Ulster Savings Bank is this might not be quite the right term, but it's pretty close, a community reinvestment bank. It has a mandate to reinvest its money in the community. Not just a hope, but an actual mandate to do that from a legal point of view. And as such, it has a designated community reinvestment officer, which will be useful for us as we need to borrow money to build things with, as we do different things. So that's a good relationship to have. And there's nothing better than knowing your banker by name and being able to go sit with them. And, it's something that it's more and more rare. And I think anytime we can cultivate a one-to-one relationship with an institution like a bank is a good idea. So well done. I know at some point we're going to return to some other budgetary conversations in relationship to other projects. So I will conclude my report with that.
Great.
You said it was a 6-month?
6 month CD.
Seven.
Sorry, 7
month.
7 month? Huh, okay, 7 month, even better. 7 months to fix the,
We're getting,
it says 7 right there.
4.5.
Great.
4.05.
Great.
What'd you say? About 4 is good. Yeah.
There are limited ways for us to engage in creating interest with this money. We can't do it in every possible way, right? There are just certain ways, but I'm assuming this is the best world possible, given what we can do with money that we're holding on to until we build it. Right. So.
Can I ask you a quick question about the financial reports?
Sure,
Thanks for either one of you.
You should ask Stacy.
So, am I right that, for right now, our total assets are like just under $6 million?
Yes.
But that's probably gonna be like the highest it will be because
Right.
all of these assets are reflecting like the construction costs that we put into them, but we're gonna sell it for a lot less than that.
Correct.
Okay, so like
Yes.
Gil is like $700,000
Yes.
asset, but if we sell it for 200, it's awesome, perfect dream. No notes. Okay, I just wanted to make sure I was understanding.
Yes, yes, I would love to see it just tip over,
Yeah,
but yes, that is,
okay,
you're exactly right.
but we won't be, we do not expect to be, and we probably should not be anywhere close to that number at the end of the year.
Right, because we're hoping to sell some of those properties.
Right, which will be it'll be free cash when we do sell them, but it will be a lot less than the asset.
As far as the value, yeah.
Right, okay, cool. I just want to make sure I was understanding that.
So we will have undesignated income from them, but not to the degree that it appears at this moment.
Correct.
That's
But the amount from the year before is accurate? That doesn't reflect like properties, but you know, like from the 3 million from 2023.
So, so it's still building.
It was-
The assets are still building. As we construct the buildings, we spend the money on grants and we build assets. And then at the end, we're selling those assets. So it's, at that particular moment, that's where our assets were. But when we sell, it's gonna be hard because we're gonna go the whole loop of selling and constructing at the same
And the
time.
audit is always frozen, like the asset statement is always frozen.
Yes,
At a particular time,
Yes,
it just happens to be when a weird time for us.
yes.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, cool. I just wanted to make sure it's.
Yes.
And there'll be other kinds of fluctuations as well, just given I mean, just in terms of all of the numbers that we look at, I would think in terms of construction costs are gonna go up and down.
Yeah.
You know, things are gonna, like loans or interest is gonna go up and down.
Yeah.
So, and also I'm sure property will also go up and down in terms of its assessed value versus its sale value, et cetera. So,
we never.
so it's like being on a boat. you
Yeah,
know?
we never, put in our financials the assessed value, that never shows up on this because it's like inventory to us as opposed to an asset that we're holding for investment.
Mhm.
So that's why it's always at cost.
That makes sense.
So we'll look forward to riding the waves of fluctuating numbers. But keeping our goal in mind and succeeding brilliantly, so yeah.
You're
Amen.
doing great,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Very fortunate.
Could I make a request that every time we sell a home, that's the music? It's big. That's
I
great.
love it.
It's a pretty good place.
Awesome. Any other questions? No? Then with that, I'll entertain a motion to accept the treasurer's report or a motion to vote on the treasurer's, motion to vote on accepting the treasurer's report.
Motion to vote on accepting the treasurer's report. Second.
Seconded, all in favor? Great.
Aye.
Thanks, Paul.
Gotcha.
I was worried I was gonna.
It's okay.
Cool. Did you want to go over the audited financials or was that already included in your report?
I don't think we need to go over the audit
Cool.
financials, but you know, it's the auditors approve the financials, so I think we're good to go.
Excellent. I agree. Great. Then with that, we'll go to the communications, community engagement and fundraising committee.
Awesome.
report.
Great. Okay. Well, make sure I go in order. Okay, so from the ribbon cutting event, we had discussed pushing it out a little bit, just as we wanted to get more homes under contract. During our committee meeting, I think we talked about like Wednesday, the 21st.
Right.
Is that date?
May?
Yes, instead of, we were gonna aim for like early May, and now we're aiming for mid to late May.
Since that meeting, I don't think we've signed any more contracts, although it might have been around that meeting because we signed the second contract last week. And we're pushing for the third contract, and after the 3 are signed, due to the timeline of the fourth being much further along, I think we can try to have the fourth contract signed by the event. That's kind of the game plan, so that everyone who shows up and everyone that asks, or Kyle and I will let everyone know as soon as we have 3 of the 4 contracts signed and 4 of the 4 contracts signed during that period. So I don't have any updates about if that date's the best date in the
What
world.
was the date? Like, is there a reason if that date was specifically, or is that why Wednesday?
We were looking at it with the end of the month here coming on Memorial Day. We didn't want to push it out too far after that date because we wanted it to be close enough to like sign contract period. But then we thought like people might leave town early, like Thursday night or Friday and not attend because of Memorial Day weekend.
Leave it down.
Maybe, I don't know, because I think the school system added like days off.
They got
But they
them all.
didn't have
I thought they
snow
got
days,
them.
right?
Right, so
They added them to the spring break.
with some of them, and then I think they
Oh.
added like 1 or 2 to Memorial Day weekend also. Yeah, so that was the reasoning for that. But we will keep you all informed if that date is, 100% selected as the date. It might lag, it might need to be pushed a little bit based on timing of sign up.
And what, is there a house we're thinking of?
Yes, we said, Abbey Street.
It'll be afternoon.
Yes,
What generally, what time?
I think before 4 o'clock would definitely be the only restriction that I've heard of that would work for the mayor.
For the best photos.
Right. Now
So
we're thinking,
it's the mayor's and July 4th.
maybe we could start at 3:30 so that the mayor could be there for the photos and we could continue them into the golden hour for 3 hours.
Do all the owners, new owners get to cut the ribbon together?
If they attend, I think they should. I think that would be cool.
We had a youngster cut the ribbon last time.
And then I see there's no for final photos.
So if I can pretend to be Owen, or do my best to stand in for him. So Owen has taken it upon himself to set up final photos with a professional photographer. Half of those, I believe, are done for Chapel and Gill, because Gill will be the first to be sold, so that's all wrapped up, taken care of. The next 2, probably maybe within a few days. So we will then make selections, I guess, request any edits. I'm sort of just tracking the process, and then we'll have a great set of photos, completed photos. That's to come.
Great. And then we had discussed participating in the Kingston Clean Sweep, which is happening on Saturday from 9 to 12. We're waiting for like a final email from Anna Brett from the Friends of Historic Kingston that like oversees that event. They supply gloves, trash bags, and protective vests, but they said that we need to bring like rakes, brooms, etc. I don't know, I don't have like a count of who is available, and I looked at the weather forecast, it will be cloudy, so that's great to be outside. You don't want those UV rays. Chance of some rain, but so far it's Sarah and myself.
Yeah, we're meeting.
She hasn't sent the location yet. I know she's out of town for a family matter. She said she gets back tomorrow and then she'll let me know. Great. But
Usually the house, and they might change
That's it.
the house,
maybe.
they might change.
I swear once it snowed. When it snowed.
Is it cleaning like litter, or is it like cleaning like?
I think like, yeah, litter, weeds, yeah, just general beautification. Anybody else? We were hoping for a team of 3 to 5 people. You can bring your friends.
It's my brother's birthday, and he's gonna be in town.
Bring your brother.
We'll try.
Before my birthdays. God bless you. All of you are.
It is fun, guys. It
Yeah.
is fun.
I mean, about,
And where it's an opportunity to wear shirts and get out there and have,
where are our shirts? I think
yeah,
that's cute.
So you meet up in one place and then do they like assign each group? like,
yeah, they'll give you
different
like, it's usually like along Broadway. And they'll give you like different,
Will you forward the information when you get it?
absolutely.
Um,
And then we have. Just look at the agenda here. I think the next thing was the farmer's market. So we have been given June 14th as like the date that we can have a table at the farmer's market uptown. And in terms of materials, they ask that you don't sell anything besides like basic merchandise or like soliciting donations, so we should do we have like an iPad or something, or I have an iPad, if someone gives me that's like login to something.
Donations?
We have one
Yeah.
that's set up for, we're not Square. What's the good one, Venmo? Whichever one we decided was the best, and a swiper and things like that, so I can get, I'm happy to get them.
Yeah, we had it at the.
Where, I don't remember, I think I know where it is, I think it's at my house, but
Oh, is
we
it?
kind of disbanded after the holiday party. Sorry?
Aaron doesn't have it?
Aaron may have it, I haven't checked my garage lately for my pile of.
Where you keep all your electronics.
But I'm looking at material and poster boards and if I have it, Barbara, I'll check tonight.
Okay, yeah, and I don't know if we wanna try to sell tote bags.
I can get you tote bags, we have at least 15 or 10 or something.
Yeah, that's
Pile
right,
about this
like-
big. that-
Try to sell.
People love tote bag farmers
They
markets.
love it too.
Just grab some fruit and throw it in the bag.
Yeah, and I will say, looking like on their website, that they have limited supplies and they ask that we bring our own tent weights and table. I don't know if anyone.
Oh, I have a tent.
Okay, cool.
Like
I
a
have one
vendor
here.
tent?
What?
Like the square, like white vendor tent?
Yeah, it's like a shaded
Yeah,
thing.
an easier
I
like
can
that.
loan- Yeah, it's like
Yeah,
an
yeah,
easier one.
yeah.
Okay.
I can loan that.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. Do you also have a rake that I can buy?
Yes.
What are the tools? They said rake.
Rake and broom,
Yeah.
or like, if you have any, I don't know, like, I'm not a gardener, I'm not like an outdoor person.
I have many tools.
Okay, great, Sarah will come equipped with her many tools.
Hopefully they give us
Landscaping?
my section of Broadway and I can just walk them down.
I love that. You should have.
They don't come that far.
They don't come down as far
No.
as Eastchester.
They haven't, in the
Yeah,
past.
it's usually on Broadway.
Manchester.
It goes from like Franklin Avenue up to Academy Green. One year I did O'Neill Street, across the street, so but
Yeah.
I don't know what they're doing this year. So
Yeah.
that's my
It's one of my favorite
experience with it.
streets, Chester, for some reason.
Yeah, that's it for right now, and then when we get to executive session, we'll discuss the social media article.
Great. Any questions? Okay,
Thank you for your community engagement.
Yeah.
Trying.
Governance.
Governance. So, Ethel and I were, well, Ethel and I volunteered to co-chair governance. And, so that's gonna be an adventure between the two of us. I'm excited. We did hold an interview for a prospective board member. We have received an inquiry of another prospective board member, and so we're going to schedule an interview for that person before we make any decisions on who we'd like to fill the last seat. And then the other thing is annual disclosure forms, which we all have to sign, just saying that we don't have conflict of interest. Do the ones that we signed, does that count, or do we have to sign other ones? Are we doing a email copy or printed?
I think an email copy works for me, if that works for everybody else, to have a digital signature or something like that.
Has everyone received that? Or we have to send that to you?
Yeah, we didn't send out the.
We got it, but we didn't send it out, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
well, we got one, you sent like a sample, you sent your own line.
It
Oh, we
did.
just sent
I mean,
it out.
Sorry.
It said
Didn't we
in our
just respond?
conflicts.
Yeah,
And I did send around the.
Oh, you did send your own actual,
Yes.
okay, yeah.
it's in it. I think it's in it. Anyway, we'll figure that
We'll
out,
send
but
it.
we will send that to you. And then please you sign it.
And just for context, it's part of the ABO reporting that Stacy and I will start probably
Right.
next month.
And this is wondering what's it has to be due by when exactly?
We would like to submit next month.
ABO is the state, right?
It is, but
That's what I meant by the mandated state reporting. ABO, yeah.
ABO, AG, Harris.
Do-da.
And they'll accept them electronically by email?
Yes, we don't submit them. We just certify that they've all been submitted and that there are no disclosures, no conflicts that were disclosed. And if there were conflicts that were disclosed, we disclose the conflict. But that hasn't happened.
Anything else from governance? Great. Then, design, Paul.
Hey, so Joanna, Mike, and Owen and I met on Monday and went over some plans and material project Teller Murray. So I'm working on some plans I sent over to Owen and Mike earlier today. And then I had a few questions and then we'll loop everybody else in design committee and then get working on those.
Nate is invited to a meeting with Paul and I to go over finishes for.
Yes. Yeah. We didn't assign Nate anything, but you have to come to a meeting with us.
Come to all the meetings that we talk
Deal.
about.
Deal.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
That's all we had, but it was a busy meeting, a good meeting.
It didn't come up as specifically, but I'm just gonna say that I very much enjoyed it. And thank you, Barbara, for your support in leading the universal design, discussion of universal design as relates to our building. I thought it was fascinating and encouraging and spiritually sound, meaning creative and fun. So thank you.
Great. Anything else, Paul? Any questions for Paul? No?
I don't have anything.
Great. Then with that, we still don't have any members of the public, so I will entertain a motion to move to executive session to discuss the social media RFP.
Motion to move to executive session. Second.
All in favor? Okay, welcome back to the public meeting of the Kingston City Land Bank. In executive session, we discussed the social media RFP. I will entertain a motion to vote in open session to approve the amount to exceed as discussed in executive session.
Not to exceed.
Not to exceed the amount as discussed in executive session.
Second.
Motion to do that.
Good, second for Rebecca. All in favor?
Aye.
Great, thank you, everybody. With that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Thank you, everybody.